This feast in honor of the Holy Cross, we don't get to celebrate on Sunday very often because it's tied to this day, to September 14th. So whenever it rolls around on a Sunday, we celebrate this feast. Otherwise, it lands on whatever day of the week it falls. But when you think about the exaltation of the Holy Cross, the lifting up of the cross, the showing off of the cross, the celebration of the cross, that almost sounds, it strikes our ears as fine today. Well, yeah, of course we would do that. But if you go back centuries, back to the time of Jesus, the cross is not something to lift up. The cross is not something to celebrate or to hold in revere or regard, high regard, or to revere in any way. The cross is perhaps one of the cruelest ways devised by human beings to hurt other human beings. Rome set up the crosses outside of cities at the gates, for example, in Jerusalem, not to say, welcome to Jerusalem, but rather, don't do anything to tick us off, because this is going to be your punishment. And so as you would approach the gates of the city of Jerusalem or any major city, there were the crosses sitting up near the gate, so that anybody who was coming would see what you did to criminals. If you think about doing something here against the law, this is going to happen to you. And people would be hoisted up on the crosses for days. This is not a quick death. This is a long, protracted, grueling, horrible death. Out there in the elements, under the sun, the insects, the birds, etc., you would have been stripped naked. The loincloth is something we just use in church. You would have been stripped naked and hung up there on display for everybody, perhaps beaten beforehand. And you don't die by bloodletting. You die by suffocation. That when you are no longer able to hold yourself up to breathe, you just collapse under your own weight and can't breathe anymore. And so you're basically hanging there until you weaken so much that you can't keep yourself alive. Long, grueling, horrible. The cross is a symbol of how much we hate one another. The cross is a symbol of how cruel we can be towards one another, how we want to hurt one another, how we want to destroy one another, how humanity just doesn't love. That's what the cross symbolizes. And so to lift up that cross, to lift up this sign, this image, this ugly symbol, is a complete reverse. Because what Christ does is he goes right into that place. He goes right into the place of hatred. He goes right into the place of division. He goes right into the place of violence. He goes right into the place where we hurt one another. He goes right into that place of exceptional ugliness in humanity. And he says, I'm going to take my spot in that place so that you don't have to. Because the cross is really the sign of judgment. This is the wood of the tree that we cultivated in the Garden of Paradise. When the Lord had given us everything that we could possibly want or need. And he says, now just be my people. Be one with me. Live in paradise. And Adam and Eve could not live in that paradise, but rather wanted to be gods themselves. This is where they break that relationship with God. That cross was not Jesus's cross. That cross is Adam's cross. Adam belongs on the cross, and we, his children, belong on the cross. This is the punishment for turning our back on God, for hiding from God's presence. That when we separate ourselves from God, we no longer live. We condemn ourselves to a cruel and slow death. The cross is our cross. We belong there. But Christ, as we hear in the gospel today, does not desire our condemnation. He comes into the world to take our place. He becomes the new Adam. And he says, I do not want you to die on the cross. I don't want you to suffer endlessly until you are no more. I will take that punishment on myself. I will be the new Adam. And I will take that punishment and I will conquer that cross so that nobody else has to take their place upon it. So this then becomes no longer a sign of ugliness, but a sign of beauty. This is a sign of love. This is a sign of someone who says, I don't want you to die. I will accept that for myself. And I love you so much that I will take that punishment from you. And so we lift up the cross and we celebrate the cross because Christ has taken this very ugly thing and turned it into something beautiful. A sign of hatred becomes a sign of love. Moses did the very same thing in the desert by the command of God. The very thing that was putting his people to death, the venom of these serpents, their own disobedience to God that causes their death. Moses is told, make a bronze serpent now. Make an image of the very thing that is killing the people and hoist that up on a pole, conquered, and show them that when you look now at the thing that was hurting you, it will become the source of your medicine. It will become the sign of salvation. That serpent, in many ways, became a sign of Jesus Christ. Paul reminds us that Christ became sin for our salvation. He took on the sin of humanity. And so in some sense, he becomes the serpent that dies upon the cross. He takes that sin into his own flesh, and it is that sin then that is put to death. Jesus then demands that we look at him. Look at sin dead. Look at death finally being conquered. Look at the power that love has over evil. Look to me. The cross, the very thing that threatened to kill you, now becomes your medicine. It becomes the antidote, and it becomes your salvation. And so indeed, we, like Moses, have to lift the cross up. We have to lift the cross up so that people see it. Because without Jesus, there is no salvation. Without Jesus, we don't have the medicine that we need. I have privileged every time I walk in and out of Mass to follow the cross. It becomes a standard, literally a standard. If you were fighting on the battlefield, you looked for your colors. You looked for the flags. Where is my army? Where are my warriors? Where are my comrades? I need to go in that direction. Where have we conquered? The standard will be raised. The flag will be lifted up so that we can gather round it. Wherever the cross is lifted up, it becomes a visible sign for us to look at it and to follow. Go over there. Stand under that thing. That's where we are. That's where we now live, and that's where we are having victory. When the cross is lifted up, we have conquered. It is a sign that Jesus has conquered here. So as I walk out and in, I try, as an act of devotion, to keep my eyes up on the cross, following it ahead of me. But we all need to do that. We all, as we go in and out, as we go through our daily lives, we have to keep our eyes fixed on the cross. Lift up the cross and look up at that. Because if you look down at the world, what are you going to see? What are you going to see? You're going to see horrible things. In the past days, in the past weeks, in the past months, years, we have seen horrible, horrible things. We have seen humanity hate each other. We have seen humanity tear each other apart. We have seen humanity at war with one another. We have seen bloodshed. We have seen harm. We have seen hatred. We have seen everything that cross used to be. And if we stare at it and if we live in that, it will conquer us. It will leave its impression upon us. And we will want to become hateful. And we will want to become violent. And we will want to become all of those things. Lift up the cross and look at it. Keep your eyes fixed on Christ. There is hope. There is a victor already. He's already won the battle. You see the serpent with its head cut off, and it is flailing on the ground. Don't be tempted to look at it. Know that the head has already been cut off. Know that the victor has already conquered. And if we keep our eyes fixed on that and live in hope, then we become a sign of something else for the world. This is what the world needs: more pictures of love, more pictures of victory, more pictures of Jesus Christ. Because without that, we are left in a world that is dying. And we can never forget, the world is dying. But Jesus came not to condemn that world. He came to lift it up. So I'm always drawn, when I think of the Holy Cross, to the Virgin Mary, who stands beneath it, Our Lady of Sorrows, whom we will remember tomorrow. She stands beneath the cross in the midst of ugliness, gambling, curses being thrown out, drunkenness, hatred, those killing her son. She stands in the midst of all of that ugliness. And where are her eyes? On the ugliness? No. Her eyes are on the precious body of her son. Keep your eyes fixed on the precious body of her son. And that gives us hope, and it gives us victory. If we let Christ be raised up in our lives, we will see where we have won. Plant the standard of the cross in your life, and nothing will conquer you there. And do not fear anything that this world has to offer. The serpents are slithering everywhere, which is why he becomes a serpent on the cross. Look at this one. Look at how the serpent is dead. Look at how I have won the battle and the victory. And now go forth, faithful Christian. Follow that cross, and don't let anything detract you from knowing you live and you are victorious.